We start WUSA9 News at 5 with breaking news. Thank you for being here with us. I'm Lorenzo Hall.
And I'm Leslie Foster. In the last 2 hours, Prince George's County Police released some new video. It shows two people of interest who may be connected to the shooting death of a toddler.
Yeah, so this video right here shows the two men the day before that deadly shooting in Langley Park, Maryland. Court documents say 2-year-old Jeremy Pucaceres was hit by stray bullets last Thursday.
And little Jeremy later died at the hospital. Two suspects were arrested last week and appeared in court yesterday. Again, if you know the two men on your screen, please give Prince George's County Police a call. Also breaking, D.C. police are investigating a report of shots fired in Northwest. And this happened a little less than 2 hours ago near North Capitol Street and New York Avenue. Our photographer on the scene counted at least 46 evidence markers. At last check, D.C. police say that New York Avenue remains closed while they investigate. So far, there are no reports of any injuries, but we'll be sure to update you as we learn more.
Yeah, and we also have some breaking news right now in Prince William County. Prince William County police are at Manassas right now investigating a stabbing. So Sky 9 is live above that scene right now, and you can see here, this is an IBEW training center on Infantry Ridge Road, just off of Sutley Road, the Sutley Road exit from I-66. Now, police can't tell us yet how many people were hurt or the extent of their injuries, but they say there's no further threat to the public. The officers say they will be at this location for a while as they continue their investigation.
But stay with WUSA9 as we continue to follow all of these breaking stories. And when we're not on TV, you can get updates on our free WUSA9 News app and streaming on WUSA9 Plus.
WUSA9 Weather Watch is sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
Now to the weather watch. Look at that. A quick moving winter system brought rain, and you can see there's snow to some parts of our area today. Here's a look at conditions in Gaithersburg earlier this morning. So the snow made for a slow morning commute, of course, but just as quickly as it arrived, it was out of here.
That was so hours and hours and hours ago. Look outside now. Who knew there was snow even here? The sun came out, and now it's pretty chilly and pretty windy.
Yeah, the chief, Top Shut, joins us now. And Top, you're tracking the potential for some more snow later this week.
I am. A little clipper is on the map now, and
man.
a big change from yesterday. It's going to get a little closer to us and give us a chance for some rain and or snow. So let's get right to it. This is one scenario, happens to be the American modeled GFS global forecasting system. So this is Friday evening. So your Friday day plans are okay. If you're out late Friday night, though, look at the blue. That's snow. Magenta is a mix, and the green is rain. This is not going to be a pure snow for the entire DMV by any means. So right now, north of D.C., 11 o'clock Friday night, overnight Friday, best chance for some snow. Now remember, clippers are light. They have light, not a lot of moisture. So we're looking at a light event, whether it be snow and or rain. By 4 o'clock, snow starts to move a little further north, more rain into southern Maryland, kind of a mix through D.C. By 8:30 in the morning, snow line is really far north now, and rain all the way to D.C. That's 8:30 on Saturday. Good news, they're also fast movers. So it's out of here by late morning, early afternoon. Notice the arrows. Winds turn northwest. We began to dry out. Good news for the ski resorts. Continues to snow west of the divide on Saturday. So that is indeed good news. Now, what about tonight? Live Earth Cam. Anything going to refreeze tonight? Nothing downtown is going to refreeze. If you're going out, you need a coat, no doubt. But look at this. By morning, we're in the mid-30s. We'll come back and show you places that will be below freezing tonight, and we'll talk about how much snow could fall Friday night with that GFS model.
Oh, boy. All right, Top, thank you. Now at 5, as robberies and carjackings continue to drive crime in the district, the chief of police answers some tough questions about accountability and transparency.
Our Delia Gonzalez is live inside the Wilson building in downtown D.C. And we know the D.C. Council is about 3 weeks away from the second vote on that crime omnibus, but the bill came up in today's oversight hearing. What are they talking about?
Yeah, no doubt. A lot of folks have concerns about that Secure DC omnibus bill. In fact, it was top of mind for the 30 or so people who testified at this oversight hearing today, a hearing which is still happening. We're about 5 hours in, and the chief is now getting her first rounds of questions. But folks had lots of concerns about the bill, and some of the provisions that we mentioned were controversial, including drug-free zones, body-worn cameras, and how police complaints are investigated.
Robberies and carjackings are up 12%, and as those violent crimes continue to rise, so does the fear in the community.
Violence is on the rise because over 1/3 of D.C. residents are hungry.
But residents are fighting back against the fear, testifying before the Judiciary Oversight Committee about what the council can do to address the root causes of violence that many say is not prioritized in the massive crime bill. Secure DC Omnibus proposes to allow police officers to view body camera footage before writing a police report and loosens the restrictions on neck restraints.
As long as the council gives MPD the funds and license to hurt our neighbors with impunity, a secure DC is unobtainable.
The Office of Police Complaints seeing an all-time high of 833 complaints last year. According to OPC, most are coming from Black DC residents between the ages of 35 and 54, most accusing officers of harassment and foul language.
What made you arrive at the conclusion to only focus on the harassment and language issues, but not the use of force issues?
In all of those cases, MPD has already initiated at the scene their own internal investigation.
OPC Executive Director Michael Dobin says 1 out of 10 use of force cases are settled in mediation, where the complainant can talk to the officer.
And how they felt, how they were treated at the scene of that incident. And that's a lot of times, that's all people want.
Meanwhile, the Washington Lawyers Committee concerned that the proposed drug-free zones in the omnibus bill would lead to more complaints of harassment.
Drug-free zones will give MPD an additional tool to target Black and brown individuals who are congregating together, often near low-income or public housing.
Many of you have asked that officers get out of their cars more, and I agree that foot patrols expand our opportunities for positive and productive encounters with community members. I have asked each district commander to expand their foot patrols, specifically in the busier commercial neighborhoods where they can check in on business owners and interact with individuals on the street.
And here we are back live inside the Wilson building, right outside of council chambers. You can see on that monitor there, the chief answering questions. She's been here for about an hour, and each council member has at least 3 rounds of questions, 10 minutes each. So we will be here, and the chief will be here for some time. But get this, Chief Smith says, she stepped up recruiting efforts. There are large graduating classes of cadets coming in, but the 3,400 member police force still down by roughly 500 officers, and that poses a challenge in many of her initiatives of getting more officers on the streets, and a lot of the plans that she has to increase visibility. So that will be a question that we'll certainly ask the chief, how she plans to balance all of that with these initiatives and the needs that residents have to see their officers. And I got to tell you, right before leaving council chambers, I heard the chief say she's bringing back an old initiative, an initiative that we hear so many of you talking about, saying that you remember when you were growing up, and you really think it will help build and repair the relationships with police, and that's the officer-friendly program. Right now, they're focusing on elementary schools, and so far have visited 35. Right now, we're live inside the Wilson building. Delia Gonsalves, WUSA9.
Yeah, as soon as you said officer-friendly, Dee, we were all like,
that had to be it.
You remember that. Mm-hmm. These conversations will continue, of course, before the council votes in March. Dee, thank you.
And right now, D.C. police are asking for your help to find this vehicle, so take a good look. They believe it was involved in a homicide last week, and these pictures were captured on a nearby surveillance camera. On February 6th, officers were called to Pennsylvania and Branch Avenues in Southeast for a report of a crash. And when they got there, they found 38-year-old Rufus Brown inside the vehicle with a gunshot wound. And Brown died there. There is now $25,000 for information out there that leads to an arrest and a conviction in this case. All right, we're also following breaking news out of Southeast D.C., where at least 3 homes on Branch Avenue are damaged after a tree fell onto them. I mean, look at this.
Massive tree, yeah. Our Jacqueline Quinn joins us live from outside of that home right now. And Jacqueline, right off the top, thankfully, we know no one was hurt, right?
Yeah, that's the good news. No one was hurt. This happened a couple hours ago, but you can see that this is going to take some time to actually clean up. I'm about 5'6", and look how much taller this trunk is. I don't know what a tree is supposed to look like inside, but actually this looks kind of hollow in there. But the circumference here, quite sizable. And David, as we can walk around here so that we can see the impact, and this is why residents are frustrated, because one of the branches here, it fell into this his home right that we can see right there closest to us, and the rest of it looks like slammed into the homes behind it there. So quite a large tree here hitting these homes near Branch and Lindale in southeast DC. Again, it happened around or after 2:30. One of the neighbors here, she told me that she did think that it could have been wind, but the homeowner where this tree is located says that he's tried to figure out how to remove this tree. He's been here since 2015, and that the city has deemed this a heritage tree. So he had to see about getting permits, and when he got the quote, it was between $15,000 and $30,000. So it was hard to remove, but let's listen in on some of the sound we got from the people who live around here.
There's been many concerns. I've had at least 3 tree permits to get it removed. The city has known that this tree has been dead, and it should have been removed.
Now, that was Aaron Vaughn. He is the homeowner, and he believes when something like a tree like this is that hard to move, that the city should help. And he says, again, he believes that this tree, and he had the arborist come out here say that this tree is dead. So he needed help in this case, and now he feels really bad for his neighbors. He's just wondering what they're going to do next. They are able to be in this area around here at this time. We're not totally sure if they're going to have to stay somewhere else at this time. We're going to be reaching out to leaders to see what they have to say, or if any help can be brought to the people right now being affected. But for now, in Southwest DC, I'm Jacqueline Quinn, WUSA9. Back to you guys.
Yeah, Jacqueline, thank you. We should also welcome you to the WUSA9 family. I believe this is your first day on the air, so it is good to welcome you. Good to have you here. Glad you're safe. $15,000 to $30,000 to remove a tree. The city's definitely got to be involved in some way.
All right, Jacqueline, thank you. All right, we have an update now on that potential monumental move. In the last 3 hours, the Virginia House of Delegates passed a bill to help fund a new sports arena for the Washington Wizards and Capitals. The legislation proposes issuing more than $1 billion in bonds to Monumental Sports to build a new entertainment district in Potomac Yard. So that bill will now be sent to the Virginia Senate for review. Several key lawmakers have already said they would vote it down because of a lack of confidence in Monumental Sports owner Ted Leonsis. All right, well, new at 5 tonight, we have to wait almost 7 months to see the new look Commanders will have on the field. But FedEx Field, will be busy this summer.
Yeah, the other football is coming to town. U.S. Soccer said today the men's soccer team is going to play here against one of the best teams in South America.
That's a big deal. Desmond Purnell was at this morning's announcement. And so tell us more about this. What's happening?
There's a huge soccer fan base in the DMV. And today, they got some good news. Now, DC soccer fans were disappointed 2 years ago when we found out the World Cup would not be played at FedEx Field. Today, though, we learned the U.S. men's national team will play here, and you won't have to wait until 2026 to see them. On June 8th, men's international soccer is returning to the DMV. Today, the U.S. Soccer Federation announced the men's national team will face off in a friendly against Colombia. The match will be played at FedEx Field. It's the first time the stadium has hosted the U.S. national team since 2012. Head coach of the men's national team, Greg Berhalter, is the only person on earth to represent the United States during the World Cup as both a player and a coach. He understands better than most the type of passion fans in the DC area have for the game of soccer, and he expects to see that passion on full display this summer.
And I remember, just memorable World Cup qualifiers here, and not only for the team, but just for the crowd and for the stadium. RFK Stadium was actually shaking at the time. That's how good the atmosphere was there. And it just shows, I think, how important this DC area is to U.S. soccer in general, whether that's producing players, whether that's winning championships with DC United, or whether that's hosting national team events.
Now, the men's national team will also compete in the prestigious Copa America during the month of June. So this friendly against a very competitive Colombia team should only help the U.S. And real quick, guys, the pre-sale tickets will be available tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. and general tickets go on sale Friday at 10 a.m. We know Lorenzo is a soccer enthusiast.
Actually, we were both writing down the time, June 8th.
And I was just thinking, I'm like, getting those tickets, how soon are they going to go on sale? I didn't realize that quickly.
Lorenzo will have his as soon as they go, as soon as the gates open.
I was going to say, can you get several for us?
He needs to get them for us.
You might have the hookup.
I got a credential. My credential will get me anywhere I need to be. I'm sorry, guys.
Him.
Singular. On me. All right, Des, thanks for that story. All right, ahead at 5. 5:30. There is less than 2 weeks to go before the South Carolina primary. How Republican presidential hopeful Nikki Haley is fine-tuning her message as she hopes to close the gap with frontrunner Donald Trump.
Plus, this year's Super Bowl that you saw right here on WUSA9, it was one for the history books, the record-breaking number of people that tuned in to the big game.
And first, they say love doesn't cost a thing unless you're spoiling that special someone on Valentine's Day. Don't show up without something tomorrow,
It
right?
costs.
What's behind us either way, right? What's behind a surge in the price of everything from chocolates to flowers? Hey, Top, what are you delivering tomorrow?
I'm delivering some wind, but less wind than today. You saw Jacqueline's report in southeast D.C. with that huge tree that was down. We had wind gusts over 30 miles an hour today, but this just updated about 15 minutes ago. Wind still gusting to 25 downtown, 20 up in Gaithersburg. We'll come back. We'll talk about when the winds settle down and new model data in on that Clipper system on Friday night.
And it's a Maryland tradition, a delicacy of sorts, the Chesapeake Bay blue crab. Inevitably, eating these crustaceans results in a huge pile of shells, usually bound to the trash can.
Yeah, but researchers at the University of Maryland have found an amazing use for these shells, battery power. Tonight at 11, we go behind the science of crab batteries. Stay with us. The News at 5 is back in just a minute. Here's your friendly reminder. Tomorrow is Valentine's Day. And we all know the old saying, right? Love don't cost a thing. Well, that really isn't the case anymore.
Yeah, because if you don't show up with something, there will be a price, right? If you haven't, right? If you haven't already bought something for your special someone, you may be in for some sticker shock. As our Simone D'Alba reports, love may not cost a thing, but Valentine's Day may be pretty expensive.
True love is priceless, but this Valentine's Day, Twitter-pated consumers are showing their affection with some big spending, according to the National Retail Federation.
Consumers are expecting to spend around $25.8 billion this year, which is on par with last year and the third highest we've seen in our survey's history.
That breaks down to a whopping $185 per person. The NRF's Catherine Cullen says their survey also found in 2024, love is in the air.
This year, consumers are really focusing on the romantic aspects of the holiday. They're spending record amounts on significant others and really prioritizing gifts like jewelry or an evening out.
Despite new federal data released Tuesday showing inflation continuing to cool year over year in January, that evening out or box of chocolate may still be pretty pricey.
We look at food away from home. That is up more than other cost categories, and so is candy. Price of sugar has really been up all around the globe.
But Bankrate's Mark Hamron says even if inflation remains a little sticky this Valentine's Day, a strong economy will make the road ahead just a bit sweeter for everyone.
The economy in the United States has remained not only more robust than expected, but it's been the star performer compared to our would-be peers all around the globe. That's something for Americans to celebrate.
Simone D'Alba, WUSA9.
Well, this could throw a wrench in your Valentine's Day plans. Uber, Lyft, and DoorDash drivers are planning a one-day strike tomorrow.
Whoa.
Yet drivers say they are fed up with the long hours and the low wages, and they accuse the rideshare companies of taking a huge cut of their fares as commission. A group that represents rideshare drivers says their members are being mistreated. The group says their drivers will stop giving rides at 10 airports for 2 hours tomorrow. Uber says it does not expect the strike to impact business.
WUSA9 Weather Watch is sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
Okay, we're looking ahead to this little clipper on Friday and Friday night. So we know a couple things. Clippers don't have a lot of moisture. They are fast movers, but this could impact overnight Friday into early Saturday morning. This is going to change. You have to check back with this because you know clippers are going to change. In fact, just since yesterday, this clipper's changed 400 miles in terms of the track. So this is one scenario. 5 o'clock on Friday, we are still dry. But then as we go through Friday night, maybe even before you get home, 10, 11 o'clock at night, some snow could break out in the metro, rain to the south. See, it moves very quickly. By 6:30 in the morning on Saturday, it's still over. So by lunchtime, it's gone on out to sea. Now, good news is it will continue to snow in the mountains. And that's good news because they've had a tough skiing season. All right, let's kind of hone in on this. This is the little closer view of the same model I just showed you. Again, 6:30 on Friday, we're dry. Right? Little bit of snow, that's blue, D.C. north. This is now Friday night at 11 o'clock. A little darker shades of blue, a little heavier snow west of I-81. And notice the line of blue moves northward. We kind of lose some of the cold air. The track is super close to us. If you want snow, you want these lows to go a little further south. That's 4 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. By 7 o'clock, still a mixture north of D.C., but rain south of D.C. So right now, I think our friends in southern Maryland are just looking at rain. Rest of us probably snow and or rain as we go through the night. By 1 o'clock, pretty much gone. A couple of sprinkles across the bay and east of 95. And notice the arrows now northwest winds, so that's going to dry us out as we go through the day on Saturday. Kind of a blustery weekend heading our way. So yes, this is the model output of what I just showed you, the scenario. It's kind of clipping Gaithersburg with 3 inches, 0.8 in D.C., and really nothing to the south. The European model, guess what, says no, it's going to move through fast and it's not going to have any moisture. I think the truth lies somewhere in between. I'm not sold on those 3 inches yet. I think we'll see some flakes Friday night north of town. Okay, Susan Jacob does the best job. This is Round Hill. This is pre-snow yesterday, and boom, there's the snow this morning. They had about an inch in Round Hill and a little bit more further out, almost to the West Virginia border. So snowfall amounts, 3.7, Boonesboro, Thurmont 2.8, Lovettsville 2, Damascus 1.6, and Berryville 1.8 inches. But it was a March day. Snow in the morning, sunshine in the afternoon. So tomorrow, dry for all the deliveries, a little blustery, and then PM clouds on Thursday, maybe a shower. Clouds come in Friday, light snow or rain at night. The day Friday, you can keep your plans, no problem. Saturday, just chilly, some morning clouds, chilly on Sunday and Monday, and then look at that, back to 51 next Tuesday with a stray shower.
Okay, thank you, Top. Still ahead here tonight, the CDC is expected to update COVID-19 isolation guidelines, the changes that are being considered, and when they could go into effect.
A new nationwide cellular network for first responders debuted in Fairfax County today. We'll tell you how leaders there say this will help make our community safer. A first-of-its-kind nationwide network for first responders was unveiled in Fairfax County today.
Yeah, so the goal of the network is to improve community safety by providing first responders with a better cellular connection that cannot be interrupted. So AT&T and FirstNet Authority are partnering to build this together.
Yeah, and Fairfax County will be the first public safety agency in the nation to begin implementing the new network.
I am confident FirstNet will continue to serve as a catalyst for the Fairfax County Sheriff's Office to ensure the safety and well-being of all people we serve, both inside our facilities and in the greater community.
Over the next 10 years, the federal government will invest more than $8 billion to complete it. The plan will start with building 1,000 new cell tower sites by 2026.
So those towers will give first responders, again, access to 5G technology that cannot be interrupted. The funding will also create mobile network units to increase cell service during disasters. All right, still ahead here tonight, a massive recall involving popular salad kits. We'll tell you which products you need to be on the lookout for tonight.
And the Senate passes a foreign aid bill that includes money for Israel and Ukraine. But will it get a vote on the House floor? We'll be back.
We called him Snacks.
You called him Snacks. You didn't have one.
Well, they didn't do that at your refined prep
I'm out of it.
No, I don't. No. No.
First at 5:30, an epidemic of shootings associated with funerals of all things has really touched a nerve in Prince George's County.
Yeah, so today state legislators held hearings on a bill to enhance penalties for those who bring violent disputes to sacred spaces like cemeteries, churches, and even schools. Our Scott Broom is in Annapolis with reaction to all of it.
Sacred Spaces bill, and it's a reaction to a year of violence in Prince George's County that has shocked the community sensibilities. November 17th, a van leaving a cemetery in Landover is ambushed by gunmen who wound 2 women and a man after a funeral service. In July, 5 are shot, leaving a service near Bladensburg. In June, a funeral director in Hillcrest Heights was charged after killing a man in a dispute near the funeral of a 5-year-old girl who herself was a victim of gunfire.
You know, everyone's antennas are up when we're dealing with homicide victims.
Kendall Wade is a funeral director in Prince George's County who was in Annapolis today to tell legislators that security is top of mind in emotionally charged memorials where the person being remembered died due to murder.
No one thinks that they will be hurt at a funeral. Specifically, they were already at a funeral for a person who's a victim of a crime, but it happens, and it happens all too often.
When we are at our most vulnerable state, this is not the time to prey on people.
Prince George's delegate Tiffany Alston is the sponsor of a bill that would add as much as 10 years to the sentence of anyone convicted of committing an attack in sacred spaces, which include not only funerals and churches, but also schools and hospitals. Prince George's State Senator C. Anthony Muse is also a pastor. Sunday's shooting at Houston's Lakewood Church, where Pastor Joel Osteen preaches, underlines the issue, Muse said.
As a pastor of a pretty large church, we have security. I never thought I'd see the day when we'd be surrounded by security in our churches, but we are.
The shooter in Houston was killed by armed security. Muse said he does not believe worshipers should come to church or funerals armed, but he says it's inevitable that some do. Both Jewish and Muslim groups are supporting the bill, according to sponsors who are trying to create some kind of deterrent. The bill has not received a vote here in Annapolis yet. In Annapolis, Scott Broom, WUSA9.
Mothers Against Drunk Driving joined with the father of fallen police officer Noah Liotta to urge Maryland lawmakers to close what they consider to be a loophole in Noah's law. That law, again, is named after Montgomery County police officer Noah Liotta. A drunken driver hit him back in 2015. He was working a sobriety checkpoint at the time. Liotta went into a coma. His family then had to make the difficult decision to remove him from life support. Maryland later adopted Noah's Law, which expanded the use of an interlock ignition device for drunk drivers. But MAD and Noah's father, well, they all say a loophole exists. Some drivers can receive a so-called probation before judgment and avoid that interlock ignition device. Richard Liotta says lawmakers must close that loophole.
So far, they've had blood on their hands. Let's see if they can wash their hands finally and make a difference for the victims in the community. So far, they haven't done that.
And Richard Liotta is urging Maryland Governor Wes Moore to lend his support. On the campaign trail, Nikki Haley is facing an uphill battle in South Carolina, where she used to be governor.
Yeah, a new CBS News poll shows Donald Trump with a commanding lead over Haley in the state. But Haley is doubling down on her criticisms of the frontrunner for the GOP presidential nomination.
It's so good to be home.
GOP presidential hopeful Nikki Haley's bus tour is circling her home state of South Carolina today with a message for voters.
We need y'all to get out. And we need you to keep faith.
Haley responded to news that former President Donald Trump wants his daughter-in-law to co-chair the Republican National Committee.
Think about what's happening right now. Is that how you're going to try and take an election?
A new CBS News poll shows Trump pulling 35 points ahead in the Palmetto State. He's still ramping up his personal attacks, the latest targeting Haley's husband deployed overseas.
What happened to her husband? Where is he? He's gone.
He's completely unhinged. If you mock one person in the military, you're mocking everybody in the military.
On the legal front, Trump's attorneys have asked the Supreme Court to hit pause on a lower court's ruling rejecting his claim of presidential immunity following his actions leading up to the U.S. Capitol riot on January 6th. The justices have given special counsel Jack Smith a week to respond to Trump's request before they make a consideration.
Billions for campus improvements, grants, and debt relief.
The Biden-Harris campaign released a new digital ad appealing to black voters, touting historic HBCU investment. But comedian Jon Stewart zeroed in on some numbers neither Biden nor Trump can escape.
They are the oldest people ever to run for president, breaking by only 4 years the record that they set.
Polls have shown many Americans are not interested in a 2020 rematch. Well, Trump is back in South Carolina tomorrow evening for a rally.
President Biden is urging lawmakers in the House to take up a bipartisan foreign aid bill. The Senate passed the measure early today. 22 Republicans joined with Democrats to approve the legislation following an all-night session. It contains $95 billion in aid for Ukraine, Israel, and the Indo-Pacific.
Let the full House speak its mind and not allow a minority of most extreme voices in the House to block this bill even from being voted on.
House Speaker Mike Johnson says he won't consider a security package that does not include the southern border. House Democrats have signaled they are discussing a way to potentially force a vote if the speaker doesn't bring the bill to the floor.
Well, a new report shows inflation is dropping, but it's not all good news. The newest report shows total inflation dropped from 3.4% to 3.1%, which is less than anticipated. The report cites factors like the cost of housing being up more than 6% from 2023, gas prices and grocery shopping still seeing lower inflation, but eating out is expensive. Economists think the latest report could mean the Federal Reserve may keep interest rates high.
Until the Fed sees that inflation is moving closer to their 2% target, I don't think that they are going to see that there's any reason to cut interest rates.
After the report was released, the Dow Jones Market Index saw its largest drop of 2024.
Changes may be coming to the CDC's COVID-19 isolation guidelines. The Washington Post reports the agency is expected to ease those COVID-19 guidances this spring. Now, the planned shift was reportedly discussed in a briefing with state health officials last week. Isolation may no longer be necessary if you have COVID-19 and you've been fever-free for 24 hours with mild or improving symptoms. Since 2021, the agency has said that people should isolate for at least 5 days after testing positive and then continue to mask. So we'll be watching that.
We have an important recall to pass along about some popular salad kits. They're being recalled because they could be contaminated with listeria. Some Dole branded and private label salad kits were processed on the same line as a cheese that was recently recalled for possible traces of listeria. The recalled products include Dole, President's Choice, and Market Side salad kits. So anyone with these kits, you're being urged to throw them out right away. Dole says so far there have been no reported illnesses. WUSA9 was your home for all the action from Super Bowl 58. But until now, though, we didn't know how many people actually watched the big game.
Turns out a lot of you did. Of course, now we all know the Chiefs beat the 49ers in that overtime thriller for their second title in a row.
He runs and he throws, caught, touchdown, it's caught, Hardman caught the ball, the Chiefs have won!
All right, now we know this year's Super Bowl averaged 123.4 million viewers across all platforms. 120 million people watched the big game right here on CBS. That's the biggest TV audience since the Apollo 11 moon landing back in 1969.
It's taken that long for
Yeah.
that many people to watch the same thing. Last year's Super Bowl between the Chiefs and the Eagles had 115 million viewers, helping send these numbers soaring. You guessed it. Pop star Taylor Swift. And there has been additional interest around the Chiefs since she started dating tight end Travis Kelce.
Okay, so meanwhile, though, Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes carried out a long-standing tradition on Monday after winning the Super Bowl. He stopped by Disneyland, California, to celebrate. That's his thing. He rode on a float in one of the park's parades.
Looks quite comfortable.
He's been busy.
He's been there 3 times. Third time he's been honored in a Super Bowl parade at Disney Park. The first was at the Walt Disney World Resort in Florida back in 2020. And the Chiefs' victory parade and celebration is set for tomorrow in Kansas City.
Has he slept yet?
Probably not.
You know,
but
he's
maybe
just
it's
gonna
the
crash after a
adrenaline
while,
is
yeah.
carrying him through.
Man, all right, so you think the morning commute here was rough today? Check out what this morning's snow brought some of our neighbors in Connecticut. Some places saw up to 11 inches of snow. Those folks still out there running. We're going to have a live report from Hartford, Connecticut coming up in just a minute.
That would be you.
No, not with snow.
That would be you.
Correct. And you'll be at the Weather Center. He's up as well. Okay. Hey, Ryan, can you hear me? Oh, good, did work. Okay. Ryan, can you hear me? Over.
About 2:45 out, I think they said.
He is okay.
Not yet. I just hear commercials.
Ryan, you hear me now? It's Topper. You got me?
Yes, Topper, I hear you.
Hey, Ryan, how are you? Listen, thanks for doing this for us. So I got, I went
Thanks
into
for having me.
Went into the public information statement. So I've got like Only 6 at Bradley, but like 15 in Farmington and West Hartford. Does that sound right? Okay. We're going to ask you about...
Yes, yeah, the airport missed it, but just south of the airport got it.
Okay. And can I ask you, like, this is the largest storm in X amount of years?
Sure.
Okay. Okay. Anything you want me to ask that would be, that you know, it would be relevant?
I would say that the storm track kind of shifted and brought us into it last minute. That might be interesting.
Okay.
We weren't really expecting this much in Hartford.
Okay. Okay. We might have time for that. Okay.
Cool. Well, I'm up for anything.
Okay. All right, say goodbye. We're going to we'll be up with you shortly. Stand by, Ryan.
WUSA9 Weather Watch is sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
Okay, we didn't quite see a winter wonderland here, but folks in Connecticut are dealing with their first major snowstorm in years. Check this video out. This just into our newsroom. There's some heavy snowfall. Anywhere from 6 to 15 inches fell across Nutmeg State. And it was a big storm. Of course, they handle that sort of stuff pretty well. I spent some time in Hartford. So joining us now, meteorologist Ryan Breton from our sister station, Fox 61. Now, Ryan, thanks for joining us. We know that several areas are dealing with heavy snow, but talk about where the heaviest snow fell and were there any records broken today?
Well, Topper, thanks for having me on. We're right here in downtown Hartford, and this was like the perfect snowball snow, very wet, pasty snow here. But once you got up in elevation a little bit, just to the west of Hartford, like a 10 or 15 minute drive, 15.5 inches of snow fell in Farmington. No record set in this area, but interesting to note, on the Connecticut shoreline on Long Island Sound, this is the biggest storm in 2 years and more than all the snow all of last winter. So it definitely was a big impact.
Okay, now I think were folks fairly prepared for this in terms of commuting and schools?
Yeah, the timing of the storm was pretty well predicted, Topper, but what happened at the last minute is there was a big shift back and forth in storm track. Last night we weren't sure quite how much we'd actually end up with here, but at the last minute it all came back north, and the worst hit during the morning commute, which obviously is a big problem anytime it snows. Most of the schools were already planning on canceling, though, so most people hunkered down, and it was really a quick-moving storm. Under 12 hours, in and out, but while it snowed really hard.
Yeah, you were fortunate it was a quick-moving storm. Otherwise, it would have been quite a doozy. What about in terms of, I know it was a wet snow, you mentioned that. Any power outages, any problems with that?
So far, actually, not really. It seems like the places that got the most snow, it was a little bit fluffier. They were kind of higher up in elevation, which I know is something you guys deal with down there, too. And then the lower elevations doesn't seem like we had many issues with power outages. So it's a good thing it hit at this point in the winter when the leaves are off the trees, as opposed to, say, November or April.
Yeah, all right. Ryan Burton, meteorologist Ryan Burton, thank you very much for joining us from Hartford, my old stomping ground for a while. And you can get some good snows up there, yes. And elevation plays an important part here, too. You know, places that were just 800 feet above sea level had 8 inches for us north up near the Maryland-PA border. Ryan, thanks again. All right, you know what? We're looking at a little clipper, and we're going to track this for you. And this is going to change, okay? We're talking about a Friday night event primarily. So this is Friday evening at 6:30. So we have clouds in place, but we're dry. And we're going to be dry for the morning commute and the evening commute on Friday. So don't worry about that. That's not going to change so much. So this is 11 o'clock Friday evening. See the magenta, that's a mixture, and the blue is snow. Now, as I mentioned earlier, if you're a snow lover, Clippers will break your heart, okay? They can look really, really good for a while and then just go away. They don't have a lot of moisture. They don't tap the Gulf of Mexico or the Atlantic Ocean, and they're also fast movers. The biggest thing about a Clipper, it usually has pretty good upper air support. So this is Friday evening. So if you're not home by 11, you could have a mixture to deal with. Then it has snow across most of the metro at 4 o'clock in the morning. Now this just updated about an hour ago. We're seeing this for the first time, both of us together. Notice how it has a snow line now farther south down into northern Charles County. That's different. The snow line was cutting through D.C. earlier. And we advance this. By 7 a.m. on Saturday, still snow. That's blue. That's the snow. And that's the mixture. Okay, this is much colder solution than it was just a few hours ago. So it's got the snow. It's still south of D.C. If you were with us, a half an hour ago, the snow line began to retreat, even north of Gaithersburg by Saturday morning. And then it does get out of here. That's not going to change. It's going to be a fast mover. It clears out. Well, the snow leaves by late morning, early afternoon. We begin to clear out late in the day. Notice the arrows. Those are wind directions. Winds pick up out of the northwest. That will dry us out and make it kind of a blustery day. So taking that map, we're going to add numbers to it. And again, this is just one scenario. So this is 11 o'clock at night, Friday. Nothing to worry about. But by Saturday morning, 1.8 inches. So this is also just updated, okay? It was originally 0.8 inches in D.C. and nothing accumulating south of D.C. So again, this is a little colder, technically snowier run. And this is what I mean. This is going to change all week, but we're going to track this for you, okay? By 6 a.m., 2.7 in Gaithersburg, 3.5 in Frederick. We end up by afternoon, 3 to 4 inches north of west, and 1 to 2 inches D.C. and a little bit south. So again, it will be impactful Friday night. So if you get home early Friday night, you'll probably be okay. So again, here are the models. GFS, Global Forecasting System American, has pretty good snow. Again, this just updated, even accumulating snow almost down to La Plata. European model says no, forget about it. Okay, I think right now I'm Team American. Another great picture. Look at the bench. This is in Round Hill. Susan sent this in. Boom, there's the snow we had this morning. They had, again, about 1 inch to 2 inches out in Round Hill, western Loudoun County. So tomorrow, chilly, dry for Valentine's Day. It's good for the deliveries, upper 40s. I remember working in Knoxville. We had a big storm on Valentine's Day. That was not good for everybody. Low 50s. Clouds come in Thursday, maybe a stray shower. Friday, day is dry. Clouds come in. Again, light snow or rain possible at night. We clear out on Saturday, kind of blustery on Sunday and Monday, back to the low 50s, maybe a stray shower next Tuesday.
Okay, thank you, Top. And by the way, a special shout out to some of our weather watchers in our Facebook group for helping us monitor today's winter storm. Look at these. This first picture right here was uploaded by Matt Jones. It was taken out in Allegheny County in Maryland.
You got a lot more than we did. The next two photos were taken out in Bluemont, Virginia. Isn't that beautiful? The bird tree, the bird, what do you call it?
What?
The little
the
birdhouse.
Feeder?
Yeah, the feeder of the birds. The feeder of the birds. That's lovely. Thank you. Thank you, weather watcher Michael Van Dyke, for the feeder of the birds.
I love watching
Thank you for sharing these awesome pictures.
All right, and one final shout out to Wanda Coons-Myers. And yeah, look at that tiny ruler she used to track some of the snow in her neighborhood. Yeah, these were taken in Mount Lena, Maryland. Okay, and by the way, remember you can share your photos and videos by tapping the Near Me button on our website or the WUSA9 mobile app.
You can download it now by pointing your phone's camera at this QR code. We'll send you updates as the forecast changes, so you won't even need to search for anything. A new study shows thousands of people are being hurt by fallen furniture every year. How experts say you can protect yourself and family members from a potential tragedy. All right, and WUSA9 is staying on top of that breaking news we brought you at the top of the hour. You remember this, a report of a stabbing at a trade school in Manassas. So in the last few minutes, the Prince William County Police Chief gave us an update. We're learning officers shot and killed someone suspected in that stabbing. Our Katie Lusso will join us live with more in just a few minutes. Stay right here. We are back with an important consumer alert. It is not a new danger, but it is one that people are still being impacted by every year. So there's some new data that's been released by the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission, and it shows more than 18,000 people are hurt by falling furniture, or sometimes what they call furniture tip-overs, every year. The report shows more than half the incidents involve children. You just saw there, between the ages of 1 and 3. And accidents could include furniture like dressers or even televisions.
Children are impacted more than anybody else. So over the last 10 years, there have been over 200 deaths associated with tip overs.
Yeah, the study shows that younger age groups aren't the only ones impacted. Adults 60 and older are also going to the hospital for those furniture-related accidents. The agency recommends that all of us anchor our furniture to a wall, especially those anchors that can be purchased from a hardware store. They're about $20 or less, and they take about 20 minutes to actually anchor. If you need step-by-step instructions and videos on how to secure your furniture, you can visit the website anchorit.gov.
All right, we're tracking the possibility of some snow Friday night into early Saturday. This just updated about a half an hour ago. This is one scenario, American model, global forecasting system. That's pretty good snow in D.C. We'll come back. We'll talk about how far south it could be and how much snow could fall overnight Friday into Saturday.
The news at 6 begins with breaking news we have been following in Prince William County, Virginia. A stabbing at a trade school in Manassas. And we've just learned that police shot and killed the person who they say was responsible for that attack. Thank you for being here with us. I'm Lorenzo Hall.
And I'm Leslie Foster. We're also learning the 2 people who were stabbed are in the hospital right now. This happened near the IBEW Training Center on Infantry Ridge Road. That's just off the Sudley Road exit off of I-66. Our Katie Lesso just arrived at the scene, and she's just received an update from the Prince William County Police Chief. So what do we know now, Katie?
Yeah, we just spoke with police and he told us that not only is the suspect dead, but one of the victims is dead. Another is fighting for their life. All three people involved in this are men, adult men. So we are waiting to get more information from police about their relationship to one another. But we are told the stabbing happened inside of the building. The shooting involving police officers happened outside of the building. Let's give you a look at the scene.